Hello and welcome back. I am Chris with Marksman Shooting Sports and WeBuyGuns.com in Westfield, Indiana, and you are watching Marksman TV. Today on the table for comparison for you, I have the new Hellcat Pro OSP and the Sig P365XL. In this video, we are going to do a tabletop comparison where first we will unbox them, talk about the key features and differences between the two. So if you're thinking about purchasing one, you'll have an idea of which one might serve your needs better. So anyway, if that sounds interesting to you, please stick around. That's coming up now. Alright guys, starting off these videos, I like to start with a quick unboxing here first with the Sig P365XL, which is going to come in a factory Sig gray hard case. Opening that up, we'll find our warranty and instruction paperwork information. Here is the handgun with one 12-round magazine inserted. It also comes with a spare 12-round magazine. Now, this is a used firearm. The Hellcat we have is brand new, so just know that moving forward. Alright, and then the Hellcat Pro is in a cardboard box with a nylon zipper case here. Here is the pistol inside. It does have one 15-round magazine inserted. Under here, we're going to find our warranty paperwork and test target. And under this little panel is a safety lock, speed loader, and spare 15-round magazine. All right, now bringing them together for a spec comparison. Let's start here with the Hellcat Pro. We are at an overall length of 6.6 inches, which is identical to the P365XL at 6.6. Height on both is 4.8 inches. Remember, this is a 15-round mag. This is a 12-round mag, and I'll talk a little bit about how that will change things here in a minute. If we take a look at the barrel length on both is 3.7 inches. So even though the size on both of these is exactly the same, I will go ahead and stack them to see how the contours are a little bit different. Beaver tail on, let's see, I've got it pretty well approximated there. The beaver tail protrusion is about the same on both. You're going to notice the trigger guard on the Hellcat extends down, sorry, we're sliding a little bit, extends down a little bit below the P365XL. And the XL magazine down there at the bottom kind of tilts up at somewhat of like a 45-ish degree angle, whereas the Hellcat is flat. But other than that, dimensionally, they are pretty well identical. Now, if you don't have a P365XL at home for comparison to get a size reference or vice versa, I always like to use the dollar bill. Everybody's got one of these laying around. You can go ahead and stack that up against the back. So the sight is along the top edge of the dollar bill. The beaver tail is against the back. So on a general dollar bill, your front of your barrel is protruding maybe about ½ an inch to an inch beyond the dollar bill. The trigger guard lines up pretty well. So from the trigger guard to the top of the slide is about exactly the width of the dollar bill. And then your grip out here at about the magazine release button or the trigger guard swell is about where the grip starts extending below the dollar bill. I can do the same here for the Hellcat. Again, to give you a little bit of size reference, and you are tilted at a little bit of an angle, so it might be skewing kind of the perception. The trigger guard is extending just below the edge of the dollar bill here. Again, your length on both the grip and on the end of the slide is about the same in terms of reference on the P365XL. Now, quickly, I wanted to talk about magazine options. Now, this is something I usually leave in the takeaways at the end, but this is pertinent to talking about the dimensional sizes of the two pistols. So let's go ahead and talk about it now. The Hellcat Pro does have a standard capacity of 15 rounds, and the P365XL is at 12. We've already discussed that. Now, at 12 and 15 rounds, the height is actually the same, which is interesting. So you're getting a little bit of a capacity advantage without giving up much on the height. Now, if you know anything about the P365s, they have different magazine options. The base model P365, which of course this is the larger version of, is a standard capacity at 10 rounds, although they do make a 12 and a 15 round capacity magazine, so you can get the same capacity. Now, I unfortunately do not have one of those, but I can give you a rough approximation about how it changes the contours. It's about right there, which changes the height of the P365XL to 5.5 inches tall versus the Hellcat Pro at a height of 4.8, or the P365XL being at 4.8 with a 12-round mag. So you are able to, again, match that capacity, but it's coming with a loss in size, especially on the grip, which tends to be the area that prints when you're concealed carrying, unless you're concealed carrying like a deep concealment or something like that. So you see, let me switch it the other way so you can see how much further that drops down below and tilt it kind of towards you. So it is a definite length disadvantage when we're getting into the same capacity. Now, if you don't care about that extra 3 rounds, then you can be at the same capacity at 12, I mean at the same size at a 12-round capacity. Now, other options while we are here, the Hellcat, of course, the Pro is the larger version of the standard Hellcat. These, they do have the 11 and 13 round mags, but they are not going to fit, obviously, because the frame size is larger. The same is going to be true on the P365XL. The lower 10 and 12 round capacity mags will not fit because the frame is too large. So you're at 15 rounds here, you are at 12 or 15 rounds here. All right, let's look at the unloaded weight of each, starting here with the Sig P365. Unloaded empty magazine, 1 pound 4.4 ounces, and the Hellcat unloaded with an empty magazine, 1 pound 4.6. So we're only 0.2 ounces heavier on the Hellcat Pro. Okay, let's take a look at the slides for comparison, starting here with the Sig P365XL. This is a stainless steel machine slide with Sig's nitron finish. It does have rear and front slide serrations. Now you're going to notice the P365 and XL roll markings, the serrations of course on this side as well. Now up at the top there is a loaded chamber indicator. Your sights are the Sig X-Ray 3 day-night sights, which do illuminate at night, and you have a nice visible front sight post during the day. It is windage adjustable here in the front but not the rear, and they are metal in construction. The rear sight does lift off. You see this plate here which will reveal an area where you can mount a pistol optic like Sig's Romeo series of optics. And bringing in the Hellcat Pro for comparison, this is a billet machine slide with Springfield's melanite treatment on it. It does have rear and front serrations. The rear serrations do wrap around the top to give you a positive grip on racking the pistol. Of course, they wrap around to the other side as well, and there is your Hellcat roll markings there. Now up at the top, you're going to notice these screws here. This is a removable optics plate, which puts it in line with the OSP series of the Hellcat. The front is a metal sight, which is drift adjustable. It does have a tritium insert, drift adjustable for windage both on the front and the back. Now the back is a U-dot, which is what they call a tactical rack, which gives it this kind of sharp 90-degree angle here, so you can rack it on a belt, a table, anything like that if you're limited to one hand. Loaded chamber indicator here at the top. Okay, so let's take a look at the triggers, starting here with the trigger pull weight of each. I will begin with the Hellcat. 4 pounds 14 ounces, and the P365, 4 pounds 15 ounces. So P365 rates a little bit heavier, but just by a little bit, so by about an ounce on the trigger pull weight. So for all intents and purposes, trigger pulls are roughly about at the same weight. Okay, so let's bring the triggers in for a closer look. This is the Springfield Hellcat Pro. Now this trigger is polymer in construction and does have a trigger safety there. You're going to notice the little lever in the back there will move out of the way, allowing the trigger to pull through once to press, but left alone it locks it from traveling. Now the trigger guard itself is pretty small. You're going to notice with my ungloved finger in here, there's not a lot of extra room, so you add gloves, there's going to be a little bit of a tight fit in there, but this is a small frame concealed carry handgun, so size is very important. Now if we look at the trigger, take up is right there to about the 90-degree point. We start to pull through, a little bit of sponging, a little bit of creep right there, right into a clean break. You're going to notice that over travel stop at the back of the trigger. Let's go ahead and reset. Travel right back to about the 90-degree point. So pretty short travel. Again, a little bit of sponginess and some creep there, right into a break. Show that reset one more time. Right there. So very basic striker fire pistol, and to my trigger, I should say, and to my knowledge, this is the same trigger used on the other Hellcat products. Now here is the trigger for the P365XL. Now this is an upgrade over the standard P365 triggers. This is the X series flat trigger. As the name would suggest, it has a very flat face to it. Now the trigger guard is a little bit larger. Even with my finger in there, there's a little bit more room if you want to wear gloves or anything like that. But it is not, again, there's not going to be a huge difference between the two. Again, these are both concealed carry handguns. Now taking a look at the trigger, take up, or travel I should say, goes there to again about the 90-degree position. Pretty similar in terms of travel distance from the Hellcat. Now let's pull through. There's actually very little to no creep or take up at all. Once you hit that wall, show the reset. Very short travel again. There's the wall there. A little bit of take up if you guys caught that. Break. Reset. Right there, very short. So between the two, I would say you know, weight-wise, we know they're about the same, but in terms of take-up, travel, and reset, in my opinion, this is a better trigger. Show that one more time. There's your take-up there. Right there's a little bit better view of that creep there. Break. Reset. So I actually like this trigger more, but to each their own. Okay, let's take a look at the disassembly, starting here with the Hellcat. We're going to start by removing the magazine and checking we are clear, and we are. Now from there, you're going to want to lock the slide open. On the front, there is a takedown lever here, which you're going to push up to the 12 o'clock position. Now we can gently release the slide, and when it gets to about here, we're going to pull the trigger, let the slide come off the frame. Now there is a double guide rod and spring, or a captive recoil spring system, which we can remove, pop out the barrel, and that is field stripped. Okay, looking at the P365XL, we're going to start by removing the magazine, checking that we are clear, and we are. Now from there, I'm also going to lock the slide open. Takedown lever is over here on the left-hand side as well. We're going to go down to the 6 o'clock, and then drop the slide very slowly. You do not need to break the trigger, and pull the slide right off. Now this is a single guide rod and spring recoil system. Remove that and the barrel, and we are field stripped. Okay, let's take a look at the frames. This is the P365XL. It is fully polymer in construction with a stainless steel internal frame. Now, the guide rails do travel about half the distance of the slide. So a lot of very positive interface between the slide and the frame. You're going to notice on the left-hand side is a takedown lever. We just used your slide stop and your magazine release. Now these are all metal components. The magazine release can be flipped to the other side if you are a left-handed shooter. As we talked about, a pretty decent sized trigger guard. You're not going to have a lot of excess room in there if you wear gloves, if you live in a colder environment. The grip on this is pretty comfortable to me. I have pretty small size hands, but my hand fits entirely on the grip. I don't have any excess bulge into the palm of my hand, so I've always found these to be pretty comfortable, especially if you have an extended magazine. If you have larger hands, that's something you can contour to the size of your hand. You do have a SIG rail section right up here at the front. You're going to notice a little swell underneath the trigger guard. A lot of people like that, especially again if you have larger hands, to be a little bit more comfortable so you're not getting that bite underneath the trigger guard. Now the texture on the grip is very much like a very soft grit sandpaper type feel. I personally do not like over aggressive grip texturing, so this feels very comfortable to me. But if you want something more aggressive, you're going to want to get like a Talon grip tape or something like that to put on there. But this is very, very mild texture. Now here is the frame for the Hellcat Pro in comparison. It is fully polymer in construction with a stainless steel internal frame as well. Now you're going to have guide rails here at about the midsection and at the rear, so you're not getting that full interface that you saw in the P365. But this is plenty fine and durable enough, and a lot of handguns use this type of system. Your ejectors here, your takedown lever here, magazine release and slide release on the left-hand side, all metal components. Now the magazine release is reversible, again, if you are a left-handed shooter. We talked about the trigger guard. It seems like there's a little bit less room in here than on the P365XL, but again, this is a concealed carry pistol and size is very important. You have a standard rail section up here at the front. Now the grip contour itself, again, I have small hands. This feels very comfortable to me as well, probably even a little bit more comfortable than the P365XL. I do feel like there's a little bit more space on here. Given that it is a 15 round capacity and the same size, it just feels a little bit more full and contoured to my hand, a little bit better. But that's why it's good to pick things up and try them out for yourself. You're going to notice a little cutout relief down here at the bottom as well. A lot of people really like that, and a lot of modern handguns are going to that, as people tend to get a little bit of bite on the knuckle there if that contour relief cut isn't there. Now the texturing on the grip, again, is like a very soft grit sandpaper, so if you want something a little bit more aggressive, you're going to need to source that yourself. But if you like a more mild texture like I do, this is perfect. I really do like the feel of this. Now the beaver tail protrusion back here at the back is good enough for me. Again, if you have small to medium hands, this is going to be plenty fine to protect the top of your hand from slide bite. If you have larger hands, maybe it's an issue, but again, feel it out for yourself. But anyway, very straightforward, very nice features. Okay, finally finishing it up is the barrels. The Sig is here at the top, the Springfield is down here at the bottom. They are both 3.7 inches in length. Now looking at the P365XL, the barrel is carbon steel and does have the nitron finish. There is no type of polishing on the feed ramp, a very basic, straightforward barrel. If we look at the Hellcat for comparison, also 3.7 inches. This is a hammer forged barrel, and there is polishing here on the feed ramp, and it does have its melanite treatment. Okay, so let's do some final takeaways, and I always like to start with price. The pricing on both of these is equalizing around $599 brand new. Of course, it's going to be plus or minus depending on where you live or the time of year, but that's about where they're both equalizing. Now, the Hellcat's going to skew a little bit higher right now because it is a new release product with some hype around it. When things stabilize and they're plentiful on the market, pricing is going to equalize to it being about the same on both of these. So for the same amount of money, what are you getting? Is one better than the other? Well, that's up for you guys to decide as always, but if we look at the feature set, the specifications, everything is very much consistent across the board. We saw the weight, the height, the size, the length, the trigger pull weight is all pretty consistent within a couple points of an ounce or so. Now the trigger pull itself on the P365, I like this trigger a little bit better. It's a much smoother, crisper, faster break, faster reset, not a lot of take up. I do like that, but we are talking about the concealed carry realm here where you don't really need to match a precision trigger unless you're running like a concealed carry handgun circuit competition or something like that, which I guess you could get an aftermarket trigger and put it in here if you like. But for all else equal at the same price, of course, I'm going to take the better trigger over the two if I'm not giving up anything else, and I think that that's what most people would do. But that is up for you to decide. Now, the other big advantage that the Hellcat does have over the P365 is the added capacity of +3 rounds without giving up on size and weight, notwithstanding the weight added by the 3 rounds with the weight and size of the pistol itself. Now, you can get the 15-round capacity magazine for the P365XL, but that's going to come with a trade-off on the height of adding a little over ½ an inch. Now, we know that when you're carrying a firearm, it is the grip that tends to print. So whether or not you want to have that little bit of extra protrusion out there in terms of size over what you're getting on the Hellcat Pro already, again, that's up for you to decide. If you do a deep concealment or anything like that, then that's probably a moot point. But again, that will fit into your daily carry routine. Now, both of these have optics cut, so you can run an optic. I know that's popular in this day and age. Both have accessory rails. Both have really nice day-night sights. Both have really good grip contours and texturing. Both have good reliability, and both are very good, big, well-backed companies. So again, really on this one, it's hard to say which one is better. Do you like that better trigger? Do you like the more capacity? If you want to get this and put a better trigger in it, you can. You know, the options are sort of endless. So at the end of the day, it comes down to getting into a gun shop, getting both in your hand, and seeing which one you think you like better. And this is probably one of those reviews where I would say that couldn't be more true about these two pistols on the table. Well, guys, that is all I have for you today on these. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out this video. If you enjoyed, please let me know by hitting that like button. Please also consider subscribing to my channel and check back regularly as we do post about 2 to 3 videos a week. So again, thanks for stopping by. I'm going to leave you off there. I am Chris with Marksman Shooting Sports and WeBuyGuns.com in Westfield, Indiana. You are watching Marksman TV, and I will see you next time.